Greetings, it is I, Countess Dracovin Empire, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It's time to continue our discussion on EARTHDAWN. Now, I was talking about some of the basics of character creation, and I'm going to finish up with that. Now, I had been talking about what kind of derived statistics you have from the attribute scores that you have. Now, the next thing you're going to record after them is, of course, any kind of racial abilities you have. Certain races have abilities that you will have to take a list of them and put them into your character sheet to keep track of them. Now, the next step is a really big one. This is talking about your talents and spells. When we talk about talents, your talents are given to you by your discipline. Whatever discipline you have is going to determine whichever kind of talents you have, and a talent has a rank. The number of ranks you have in a talent is added to the steps determined from an ability score, which is linked to that talent, to figure out the final steps for whatever kind of die you're going to be using for that talent. So effectively, you use whatever linked attribute you have, and then you add in whatever bonus you get from the ranks you have in that talent to figure out your final step. Now, there are 4 disciplines which get spells. There are 3 talents linked directly to spells. I'm not going to get into depths about what these talents and spell casting is right at this second. I will talk about it more later, but just know that there are 3 talents directly linked to casting spells. Now, when you start building your character with talents, you get 8 points to spend upon talents. Each point gives you 1 rank into a talent, and you can max out at 3 ranks for any talent as a starting character. Now, to figure out your talents, not only do you look at your discipline, but you only look at the first circle talents for that discipline. So that means whatever your discipline is, you only get the first circle talents from it. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't have talents that you won't have access to. Effectively, your first circle talents for your discipline, there might be more than what you take ranks in. You have 8 points. But if I get 2 at 3 and 1 at 2, and there's a 4th one, just because it is one of my talents, part of my discipline, doesn't mean I can use it. I have 0 ranks in it. I cannot use it. At a later point in time, I can put a rank in it and therefore use it. So, there is an exception, though, versatility, which humans get. Versatility allows humans to take talents from outside their discipline. For every rank you take in the versatility talent, you are allowed to take 1 talent from outside of your discipline. So if I would get 3 ranks in versatility as a starting character, I could choose 3 talents that aren't within my discipline and take ranks in them. Now let's talk about casting spells, because you start with a number of spells that you're going to use. The number of spells is equal to the step that your perception score grants you. So whatever your perception score step is, that's the number of spell points you have. Now you can select spells from any spell that your discipline can use. That means it has to be a spell your discipline can use, and you can choose first circle and second circle spells. A first circle spell costs you 1 of those spell points that you got equivalent to your perception step per first circle spell. It costs you 2 spell points per second circle spell. So if my perception step would be 5, let's say, I could get 5 first circle, or 2 second circle, and 1 first circle. Now there is something important to note. As a first circle character, you can only put first circle spells into a spell matrix, which makes you able to cast that spell safely. That means if you attempt to cast a second circle spell, though you know it, you do not have that spell matrix to protect you, and it is wild and dangerous and unbridled and should only be used as a last resort. Now let's next talk about skills. You get 8 skill ranks. Now there are 4 categories of skill: knowledge, artisan, language, and general skills. Now, for all of these except for general skills, you do get some bonus ranks in each of those categories. Meaning I'm not putting ranks in each of the categories, I'm putting ranks in a skill in those categories. Now, for example, knowledge skills, you get 2 bonus ranks to knowledge skills of your choice just because you're in the world, you know some things. For artisan, because horrors cannot do anything creative like art, art is a great way of proving you haven't been corrupted by horror. It doesn't prevent it, but it's a great way of showing that you aren't. That's why you get a free rank in an artisan skill of your choice. For language skills, you get 2 in speak language and 1 in read and write language. Now for languages, the Dwarven language is the important one right now. It is the common language because of how things came about after the Scourge. Now each race has their own language also, but if you're talking in common tongue, it's going to be Dwarven. Most of those ranks and skills are, of course, going to be spent in general skills. These are everything else that's not a knowledge, language, or artisan skill. And you might just want to use the bonus ones you got for each of those as those skills in those ranks. You can choose to spend some of your 8 in those if you want, but you already have something there, so you can spend the rest on general skills very easily. Now in this case, whenever I take a rank in any skill, it is 1 of your points per 1 rank in a skill and a maximum of 3 ranks in any skill. So it works just like you did with the talents, 1 for 1 from those 8 points that you got, that 1 point, 1 rank, and you can only max out, and you can max out at 3 at most. Now let's move on from skills and talk about equipment. Equipment is anything your character has. It's the supplies, the armor, the weapons, the equipment for adventuring, anything your character may or may not have that they would need for traveling and being out in the world. There is a list from a table that tells you all the starting gear your character gets. This is everything they will start with. This includes a chunk of money, which you can use to purchase other things, but you effectively get what's on the chart, plus some money to buy whatever else your character you think they would start with. So, that's it for today. I went over the basics of choosing talents, spells, and skills, and talked a little bit about the equipment you're eventually going to get. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the finishing touches to finish off your character, and move into talking about the different disciplines to give you a little bit of information on each of them to see if you're interested in taking it. So if you have any questions, comments, anything to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, the Empire, and the work I do. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.